Please stand by.
Loading. Loading complete.
30,
29, 28,
27,
26,
25, 24,
20,
22,
21, 20, 18,
17,
16, 15, 14, 13,
12,
11, 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 2,
1. Now for what you've all been waiting for.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Good morning, good day, good evening, good night, good wherever it happens to be where you are. And hello to everybody who watches this in the future. Well, I suppose before I get to the song, I would like to say that I'm going to dedicate this stream show to my uncle. He passed away some time ago from COPD. He was a gay man and really upstanding person. He was a cop for many years. He one of those type of people who would give you the shirt off his back. So here's to you. But let's get to the song. Every morning, every evening, we got fun. Not much money, oh but honey, we got fun. The rent's unpaid, dear, we haven't a bus. The smiles were made, dear, for people like us. In the winter, in the summer, don't we have fun? Times are bumming, getting bummer, still we have fun. There's nothing sure, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we got fun? Tax collectors getting closer, still we have fun. Twins and cares, dear, come and pays, dear, don't we have fun? We've only started, no, we're not downhearted. When I'm laid off, I'll be paid off, ain't we got fun? I'm mad and getting madder, ain't we got fun? Times are bad and getting badder, still we have fun. There's nothing sure, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we got fun? Ain't we got fun? Well, I hope we'll have fun tonight, as I have a fabulous show for all of you to watch. Let's see what. Yes, I got your message. I may actually be talking a little bit about that, about my personal little stuff there next week. Seeing as I'm covering some PTSD awareness next week, with I'm also going to be covering some stuff focusing on veterans with PTSD, within pop culture. That's my next show next week. So, I see you got some people watching here, so don't be afraid to say something in the chat. I don't bite much. But I probably should get into introducing what I'm getting into the topic for tonight. I know modern movies and shows can feel heavy-handed with LGBTQ plus themes, like they're hammering you over the head with messages, turning stories into sermons. We're given token caricatures instead of characters. It's exhausting and has gotten old fast. It's made some hypersensitive to these topics, even when the stories are good. We roll our eyes. This can hurt the LGBTQ plus this community by turning people off. I'd like to try and show how these stories can be done right, where we can learn, lean into these topics and still be entertaining with authenticity. And some of these really do have some heart to them too. I thought I'd start Hold on. I, I I thought I'd start with covering a little bit of explanation here. uh, Pride Month might be a good time for this. What is Pride Month? It all started in 1969 in officers of the Public Morals Squad had raided Stonewall Inn. Raids on gay bars were routine at the time, but this one sparked a revolution. Gay and trans individuals like Marsha P. Johnson stood up against the police. This series of protests became the first Pride March a year later. Public pop culture and our modern myths and we can use our stories to remember the past. So let's make stories that unite us. Tonight I'll be using terms like cis and trans. I want to be clear about how I'm using these terms, so there isn't any confusion. First, using gender to mean a person's sense of self, while sex is your body. Now, picture a line on the ground, as you can see in the graphic here. If you have your feet on opposite sides of the line, your feet are in the trans position. So sex is on one side, gender is on and the different to the sex. Trans meaning other side. If your feet are both on the same side of the line, your feet are in the cis position. Cis meaning this side. Or as you can see, gender and sex are the same. So transgender is when in your sense of self and your body are different, and cisgender is when they are the same, like the positions of your feet here. Probably be hearing me stuttering in here going through this. This was a difficult topic for me to cover tonight. I try to stay apolitical on this channel to foster an environment where anyone can come and enjoy themselves, regardless of religion or political affiliation. LGBT topics have been made into something hyper politicized. I don't think a person in sex or gender should be political. So I'll just leave you with a question to consider: should we be a people that guarantee this pursuit of happiness and the freedom of expression? Well, yeah. Hello. Nice to have you here. Oh, well, I hope it didn't go too badly. Let's try and bring things up a little bit here before I get into any of the topics with a song. Let's see here. Here are you? See, I organize the songs into alphabetical order and I still can't find them. Yeah, come on, where are you? I know you're in here someplace. There you are. I've got a little baby, she's out of sight. I talk to her across the telephone. I haven't seen my honey, but she's mine, alright. So take my tip and leave this gal alone. Every single morning you can hear me yell, "Hey, Central, fix me up across the line." You can ask me with my honey, then I ring the bell. And this is what I say to baby mine. Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire, baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Hello, hello, baby. Hello, I guess you can't hear me. The wires must be crossed somewhere. Hello, hello, I said hello this morning through the phone. She said her name's Bess. Now I kind of know where I am at. I'm size 5, got my baby's dress. You're pasted in the lining of my hat. I might scare if the wires get crossed to separate me from my baby mine. Then some other fool will win her and the game is lost. So each day I shout across the line. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Come on, baby. Yeah. I actually had a few new topics here that I actually ended up having to drop up for the show because I had to make room for a few other things that came up during the week. Oh, Chocolate Wee. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Good to have you here. So, just give a couple of honorable mentions before I get into the first topic here. I wanted to give an honorable mention to The Wandering Sun. It's a manga. You can also see an anime. I'd recommend the manga. I've only read a few chapters in, but it's been a pretty heartwarming tale. It's mostly about a trans kid who meets another trans kid, and they become friends. And he's basically a story of growing up and learning who yourself is. I haven't, like I said, I haven't read too far into it, but hopefully by next time I do this, will have covered most of it, so I can do a better review of it. My second and honorable mention for tonight is The Birdcage. It was a movie I was going to cover alongside the one that I'm covering tonight, but I just didn't have time. I had to drop it for time. But that was starring Robin Williams and had a pretty good cast. It was about a gay man whose son is going to get married, but his fiance, has very ultra conservative parents, so they had to pretend to not be gay for the movie. Oh, I hope you enjoy the movie I covered. Greetings! So, first topic I wanted to cover kind of was more like along the lines of something that came up yesterday on the show while I was on. So, rumor Hunter Schafer is being eyed as Princess Zelda in the Zelda movie. American actress Hunter Schafer is reportedly being eyed as playing the role of Princess Zelda in the upcoming live-action Legend of Zelda movie. The information comes from established movie leaker Daniel RPEK. Schafer has previously appeared in both The Hunger Game and The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes in Euphoria. The live-action Legend of Zelda movie is currently on track for release in March 2027. And I guess this is the thing here that covers it. Hunter Schafer is reported being eyed to play Zelda in the live-action Legend of Zelda film. And a little bit more on it from Newsweek here. The Legend of Zelda Legend of Zelda about to take a step from the video game screen to the big screen in live-action film of the beloved video game produced by creator Shigeru Miyamoto, was confirmed to be in development in 2023. This is what we know so far about the rumor casting for the film. created by Miyamoto Takahashi Tezuka in 1986. The Zelda game followed Link and Elf-like Knight, who fought to save the titular Princess Zelda from a demon warlord named Ganon. The game is one of Nintendo's most popular franchises. Gee, we needed to be told that. Wes, Wes Ball was directed the dystopian series The Maze Runner, who will direct the film and produce Avi Arad and screenwriter Derek Conley. He are only attached to the project. Nintendo is set to partner with Sony to distribute the movie. Casting of the live-action Legend of Zelda movie he has been kept under wraps, and is reporting nothing has been officially confirmed. However, one name that has been thrown into the mix is Euphoria star Hunter Sheffer. Fans have long shared that they think Sheffer should be cast as Princess Zelda, with many arguing that the actress is bearing a striking resemblance to the cartoon princess. Sheffer has commented on it, saying in 2023 that it would be so cool to play the role, according to Variety. The rumor mill about Sheffer playing Zelda amped up after industry insider Daniel Richmond said in a blog post that she was playing seriously considered for the role. Social media has reacted strongly to Sheffer potentially being cast in the film because Sheffer is trans. Some social media users expressed criticism of her potentially being cast in the role as a result, but many may have spoken out in defense of Sheffer, strongly supporting her casting. In a post is viewed more than 2 million times on an X, formerly Twitter. Silent Princess wrote, imagine being so bigoted you can't see this as the most perfect casting for Princess Zelda just because you're transphobe. Sheffer spoke out on social media earlier this year about the harsh reality of I don't want to get into politics, I'm sorry. Trans people are beautiful, she said at the time, and we're never going to stop existing. I'm never going to stop not being trans. And she later on, well, you couldn't really stop being trans, really. On a passport, you can't change that. Anyways, I don't want to kind of get too deep into this, just because of the political aspects of this, but my 2 cents on this. I don't give a damn if she's trans or not. If she can look the part, and I think she does kind of look the part here. I mean, looking at the comparison, yeah, she can look the part. Can she act? That's another really important thing here. I don't know. I don't know her acting. I've never seen anything she's been in, so I can't speak on her acting. I heard some people, making jokes about how Zelda is going to have a dick. Well, she's been pretty open about her treatment, and she has had a vaginoplasty, so I can tell you there's not going to be any dick down there. Yeah, I've never seen her act either. I don't watch The Hunger Games, so I've never seen Euphoria. So that seems to be the two big things that she's really famous for. So I don't know. Maybe you'll have to check it out just as part of a review or something on this. Just to kind of give a feel for it. But like I said, I can't say for her acting. But let's cover some other the next topic like I had lined up here. and that is Zombieland Saga, or specifically Lily Hoshikawa. Zombieland in Saga mixes pop idol, zombie horror, and comedy. It's about a bunch of undead girls under the group name Fran and Shushu, who chasing their dreams as pop idols. This isn't the usual type of anime I watch, but I gave it a try. Yeah, I loved it. And after seeing that their main protagonist gets trucked into death metal, yeah, I had to check this one out. It's a great introductory show for anyone new to anime. Both the sub and dub voice acting are well done. For English speakers, I would recommend the Blu-ray dub of the first season, which adds more flair to some of the songs compared to the sub and corrects some of the animation errors. The second season is titled Zombieland Saga Revenge. The reason I selected this anime for my show tonight is because of Lily Hoshikawa. Lily is Franchushu, who's number 6, who's voiced by Minami Tanaka in Japan, and by Sarah Windenhef in the English dub. She died at the age of 12, making her physically and mentally the youngest of the group, and thrilled to stay forever 12. Often seen with a smile, she's prone to saying what's on her mind, and she's full of childish energy, or as she in the season said, "For Fran Shushu, I'll sparkle." She's a character who brings a lot of fun to the show and literally wears her heart on her sleeve, as her heart is actually sticking out of her chest in zombie form. Lily's backstory unfolds in episode 8, titled Go Go Neverland Saga. It's one of the most emotional episodes in the series, ending with a special song to Lily's papa titled To My Dearest. We learn Lily was born as Masao Go. She became a child actor because she saw how much her father loved watching television. Lily struggled with gender dysphoria and the combination of being overworked as an actor with the stress from an anxiety attack due to entering puberty and growing some hair. She's brought to her brink. She was pushed over the edge when she was shocked to find she was starting to grow facial hair, causing her to have a heart attack and die. After revealing she was trans to the rest of her team, they still accepted her. Saki, zombie number 2, laughed at how manly her name was and how she dropped dead over a dumb whisker. But later said, "Who cares? Why does it matter what kind of equipment she's got? We're all dead. We still got that in common." According to the Blu-ray dub version. She says the sayings are a little bit different, and depending on the version you look at. I got that out of order. Oops. There we are. The stars she wears on her head hold a special meaning. The large star represents her father. The pink star represents her mother. The little star between and the large one represents Masao, and the little star in front and represents herself as Lily. It's interesting to know that at the end of episode 8, where she sings her song to say goodbye to her father, she isn't wearing the star representing Masao. Lily was Lily was the first transgender character to be introduced to this genre of anime. How well her story arc was handled as a transgender girl has made her an icon of the trans community. Even if you're not trans, her story arc is easy to relate to with the emotional impact of her relationship with her father. Yeah, I gotta say, I get teared up every time I watch this episode. There's a myth that Crunchyroll mistranslated the show, making her trans when she wasn't in the original. I can understand why some might think this. There have been in things like that done with other anime translations. But the truth is, Lily is trans in the original Japanese. The scene where Saki says, "It doesn't matter what kind of drunk she's got." Some claim it doesn't enter your friend's genitalia at all, with the translation being it doesn't matter much. But the direct translation would have been, "Who cares? Is whether she's got something attached down and there or not. Doesn't matter." So that'd be one point of how it's false information there. In another scene, in where Lily tells Sakura she's Misao in her story, Lily explains that was my old name. In the translation version, but a more direct translation would have been, and that was the name I abandoned. So Crunchyroll could have easily leaned further into making it explicit by translating this line as, "That was my dead name." Lily's story in Zombieland and Sanga is a beautiful and heartfelt one. And they never bring up her being trans in any other episode, so you feel like they're just beating you over the head with at the point. She's just one of the girls. In the second season, we get what I refer to as Scat Lady Lily, where she improvises a scat song entitled "Little Parapo." It's possibly my favorite song of the second season, and you can see Zombieland Saga on Crunchyroll or YouTube, but like I said, I'd recommend getting the Blu-ray or physical media. Get your physical media. Just end of it. Just get your physical media, okay? Yeah, she literally died. He's from gender dysphoria. it's a it's a interesting show. It's definitely worth checking out. Uh, uh, really, it is. I'm doing good. Uh, see what song we can get on the wheel. Drunken Sailor. All right. What do you do, a drunken sailor? What do you do, a drunken sailor? What do you do, a drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises. Early in the morning, shave his belly a rusty razor, shave his belly a rusty razor, shave his belly a rusty razor. Early in the morning, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises. Early in the morning. Put me in the scupper hose by bottom, put me in the scupper hose by bottom, put me in the scupper hose by bottom, early in the morning. Way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, early in the morning. Put in a longboat till it's sober, put in a longboat till it's sober, put in a longboat till it's sober, early in the morning. Way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, early in the morning. Put him in bed with the captain's daughter. Put him in bed with the captain's daughter. Put him in bed with the captain's daughter. Early in the morning. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Early in the morning. That's what you do, a drunken sailor. That's what you do, a drunken sailor. That's what you do, a drunken sailor. Early in the morning. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Early in the morning. Way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises early in the morning. That was the first song I actually learned. I would practice that song before a show. It would help with the stutter. I believe you. It's just the concept of a dead name when the subject is undead, and it leads to more confusion. There is actually I was thinking about putting this into the presentation, but there is actually a a scene in that episode 8 where the manager who is a living person and says, "This is zombies. You're Masao. I'm Lily." And some have actually he suspected that that's a little nod to dead zombies, dead name Lily. He's a living person, and we get the request for free bird. It's not my dead name. It's my acronym. All right. So we have the request for the dramatic reading of Free Bird. If I may leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? For I must be traveling on now, 'cause there is so many places I've got to see. But if I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm as free as a bird now. And this bird, you cannot change. Oh, 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 oh. This bird, you cannot change. And this bird, you cannot change. Lord knows, I can't change. Bye bye, baby. It's been a sweet love. Yeah, yeah. Though, this feeling I can't change. But please, don't take it so badly, 'cause Lord knows, I'm to blame. But if I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. Oh, 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 oh. And this bird you cannot change. This bird you cannot change. Lord knows I can't change. Lord help me, I can't change. Lord, I can't change. Won't you fly high, free bird? Yeah. There's your free bird. Petition for dead name to become a dead name as a and then rises from the grave. Yeah, not bad. I think that would be good to get into the next topic here. Seeing as we're talking about the dead, is a decent segue. Legendary comic book writer Peter David dies after a serious health issue. Is at age 68. Legendary comic book creator Peter David, best known for his 12-year run on the Incredible Hulk, has died. He was 68. His death was announced on Sunday by a friend and fellow author Keith R. Candido. Just got the news that Peter David had finally lost his rather lengthy battle with a failing in physical form last night. I first met Peter 35 years ago when he appeared on the Chronic Riff Public Access show. And over the last 3.5 decades, he has been a respected creator, a good friend, and valued colleague, and a generally wonderful person. And he added, the Candido who continued, I have a lot to say about him, but right now, I'm just sad that I won't get to enjoy his delightfully smart and funny presence ever again. And I'm also thinking of his wife, Kathleen, Sheen, David, and his daughter, Ariel, Shauna, Gwen, and Caroline. Alongside the Poe, she included a picture from David's wedding, and from Peter and Kath's wedding in May 2001, and the Candido shared of Peter with his best man, the late great Harlan Ellison. And, well, a picture that Peter said perfectly summed up his Harlan's friendship with Peter as the Daffy Duck to Harlan's Bugs Bunny. Rest in peace, my friend, he added. David's death comes months after her family friend Graham Murphy. He restarted a GoFundMe page to help raise money for David and his wife to pay off their medical debt due to Peter being rejected from Medicaid. Don't get political. Peter's health issues continue to be a challenge. She has been in recovery now for 3 years. Peter is steadily improving, even with his kidney disease, minor surgeries, and some recent small strokes. Read a statement and posted it on the fundraiser. Okay, I got a little bit to add later after I'm finishing reading to this. Let's go GoFundMe update. Shared on May 20. David's wife revealed that he had been temporarily put on a ventilator due to his inability to cough or clear his throat. His color is much better, and he's moving in his limbs, which is a good sign. And she wrote, he is under light sedation, and to keep him from fighting the tube down in his throat. And over the course of David is tenured. He would run on the Incredible Hulk in the 1980s. He regularly explored the themes of the Marvel superheroes' multiple personality disorder. He is also credited with creating a new Hulk universe. His character is the Riot Squad within the Pantheon. To keep with the theme of the show, here, David also had, where is it? He had also won the Glad Media Award for his work on X Factor, involving Shatterstar and Richter. But just gonna get this off my chest. The whole thing of kidney failure kind of reminded me of a friend who passed last year, who went by the name of the Lavender Lady. She was a trans woman, and she was the one who kind of gave me a chance of first really getting on. One of the people who first gave me a chance of really getting onto live streams, and I am going to be forever grateful for her help with that. Excuse me. And she also had passed from kidney failure. Oh. A year ago this month, I think, for first met at you on your stream. Oh, wow. So, yeah. Anyway, we have other people we need to cover for this segment. Peter Kwong. Man, we're just losing all of our Peters this week. Who played Rain in Big Trouble in Little China and died after at age 73. Peter Kwong, who played Rain, one of the three martial arts warlords in John Carpenter's 1986 action classic Big Trouble in Little China, has died in his sleep Tuesday night. According to one of his reps, he was 73. No further details were shared. Kwong, Sacramento Cliff native, began his career as a TV actor in the late 70s and 80s. He's with stints in shows like The A-Team, in Wonder Woman, Little House on the Prairie, Miami Vice, The Greatest American Hero, Cagney and C, in Dynasty, MacGyver, and 22-7. Nice career. His most well-known role came in the 1986 release of Big Trouble in Little China, in which he played Rain, in one of the three superpowered martial artists known as the Three Storms. He starred alongside Kim Cattrall and frequently collaborated with Kurt Russell. Although this film has since emerged as a cult classic, it was a commercial failure at the time of its release. He's grossing only $11 million against a budget of roughly $20 million. Well, back then, there was usually when a movie bombed, it was either truly horrible or it was just up against some really heavy competition. Unlike today. Also, in 1986, Kwong starred in Never Too Young to Die with John Stamos in Vanity, as well as The Golden Child and Eddie Murphy in Charles Dance. Kong was just as active in Hollywood behind the camera as he was in front of it. He was on the SAG National Board of Directors for more than 10 years and was also a member of the AFTRA National Board of Directors. He also served on the Television and Academy Board of Governors as well as the Actor Branch Executive Committee of the Acting and Motion Picture and Artist Sciences. He was a Hunter College scholar, and he championed Asian American studies in immigrant and workers' rights. And it's in forbidden in workers. He's echoing a lot of what we see with Pride today. To tie this thing a little bit back into our theme. I think I remember that name coming up. Yeah. Yep. We're just losing all. We lost all our Peters this week apparently. I don't get why Disney hasn't put an advertisement on the whole. Oh, really? He's just it's a giant banner. There you go. We should bring back cats as the double those umbrellas. Yes, big. When you're gardening, big floppy hat. Can't go wrong with that. But Wrong channel. Finally, or maybe not quite finally, I got one more thing to cover after this, but Laurette Swift, Hot Lips, Houlihan, and on MASH died at 87 this week. Loretta Swift, after played in major Margaret Hotlip Houlihan on seminal TV comedy MASH, died Friday at her home in New York City. She was 87. Her rep in Harlan and Bowl said she died of natural causes. For her work on MASH, it was Emmy nominated for her outstanding performance by a supporting actress in a comedy every year from 1974 to 83, winning the Emmy in 1980 and 1982. Her MASH co-star, Alan Alda, remembered her on X, writing Laurette was a supremely talented actor. She deserved all her 10 Emmy nominations and her 2 wins. But more than in acting her part, she created it. She worked hard in showing the writing staff how they could turn the character from a Wenjo sexist stereotype into a real person with real feelings and ambitions. We celebrated the day the script came out, listing her character not as Hot Lips but as Margaret. Laura had made the most of her time here. As MASH evolved over its 11-year run from a broadly farcical satire into a more contemplative series embrace drama as much as comedy. The character of Margaret Houlihan and in the way Swift performed it changed markedly as well. She was at first a crudely drawn villain ally with the Weasley Frank Burns, who existed to be the object of desertion and practical jokes by the Hawkeye and Trapper Joe. The first step in her evolution came with the season 4 episode Mail Call Again, in which Margaret realized is what Frank is, at least he's up to a point. And after Frank's wife, he finds out about Margaret, and he lies about it. With the season 5 episode Bug Out, in which most of the personal evacuate, leaving only Hawkeye, Margaret, Radar to take care of a patient and that can't be moved. Viewers begin to respect her professionality and a human inside came through. The best moment in its long tenure as Houlihan, and however, it came a few episodes later with one call the nurses in this episode. The nurses under Major Houlihan keep a secret from her. They contrive to allow one nurse and her new husband to spend the night together. But in the end, Margaret finds out, culminating in a speech in which she emotionally declares how she's always felt ostracized by them, how they have never so much as offered her a lousy cup of coffee. In the words of one MASH fan in sight, she lets them know why she is always so mean to them, and many speech that's both riveting and heartbreaking. Another key moment came in season 6 when Margaret and Hawkeye were trapped in a hut aimed amid rain and selling by the enemy. Amid the trauma, they sleep together, ultimately, in Swift's own opinion, ending the long-lasting enmity between the two characters. Reviewing her character's position and evolution on MASH, Swift once said, in certain things had to remain the same, and she had to remain in one of the antagonists because that was the structure of the show. In the second season, and we saw from the first time that she was unhappy with Frank and wanted more from her life. When around on the third or fourth year in an episode called The Nurse, his hotlet gave the nurses a speech, each telling them how lonely she was because she was in charge, and that's the way it was. And so she couldn't really have any friends. Her marriage and her divorce changed her affair with Hawkeye and comrades in arms changed both characters so that they were never really rivals again. And Swit appeared here as Major. Are they padding this one? Because I feel like I'm rereading stuff that's already been covered. Swit appeared in Major Houlihan and on the 1975 variety special Rickle starring in salt comedy Don Rickles. After the end of the show, the actress starred in the popular Emmy-nominated 1983 telepic, the best Christmas pageant ever, in which she played a teacher who put the worst student in school's holiday pageant. She went into star in a long series of TV movies, including 1985's The Execution, and guested on in shows ranging from The Love Boat with The Murder, She Wrote, making her final television appearance in 1998 episode Diagnosis Murder. In 1985, she starred with Rip Torn in the feature comedy Beer, with Swit first billed 3 years. She played President Barbara Adams in Whoops Apocalypse, a feature adaptation of a dark political comedy in British TV. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna have time to read the entire article. Unfortunately, it goes pretty long. But there's a couple other names I wanted to shout out on the those who have passed away list. And they're not recent ones, but Ian McKellen and Kevin Conroy. They were both gay men. I wanted to put them in as a showcase that people who are in the LGBT community can provide a vast entertainment to our and add value to our pop culture landscape. And of course, I'm pretty sure I don't need to point out their accomplishments with McKellen in playing Gandalf, often Magneto, and Kevin Conroy, he being the voice of Batman in the animated series and most incarnations in the games. Hey, we have a Beck in the here. Hello, you beautiful bastards. Well, hello to you too. I'm glad to see you showed up. But to bring the energy back up from such a dreary run of many losses in our pop cultural landscape and contributors, I heard today was Tom Connor's birthday. Who is Tom Connors? He is a YouTuber on the show Midnight's Edge, and he was the one who gave Doomcock his run, and helped get him built up in fame. And Doomcock in turn has greatly inspired me to do shows like this. So I'm going to get to entertain all of you. So in some way, he's Tom helped contribute to this show existing as well. And being that his birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Tom Connors. Happy birthday to you. And may you have many more. From what I heard Wednesday, he is 27 for the 10 or 20th time, give or take. But let's get on into the next segment, and seeing as we're running in time here. So let's cover. Well, seeing as we were just mentioning MASH, a show that went from comedy into a more serious tone over its run, this seems like a pretty appropriate segue, in fact. We'll be looking at Topa from the Orville. Topa was first introduced in episode 3 of the Orville, titled About a Girl, played by an uncredited baby in the first season, Blessing Yates in the second season, and Mani Pullum in the third. Topa was born female in a nearly all-male species from the planet Moklas. It's where female births are rare and stigmatized. Moklan culture demands that female infants undergo gender reassignment surgery to be raised as males, thrusting Topa into controversy from the moment of her birth. Dr. Claire Finn refused to perform the procedure, and Bordis, initially supportive of the surgery, he changed his mind and upon reflection. Despite their efforts, a Moklan tribunal ruled against Topa's bodily autonomy, forcing the surgery. She was raised as a boy with her true identity hidden beneath cultural expectations. And that is Topa from the second season. And the third. By 24 or 22, in season 3's A Tale of Two Topas, she begins questioning. I should probably say there are spoilers here. I'm sorry. But she begins questioning her male identity while preparing for the Union Point entrance exam. She confides, ever since I was a young child, I have felt incomplete, as if the person I am today is a bookmark, a placeholder, until I discover who I am. I always feel as if there is something wrong with me. I cannot tell what. With the help from First Officer Kelly Grayson and board, she uncovers the truth. She was born female and surgically altered as an infant. This revelation stirs feelings of alienation, but also empowerment. It also empowers her to reclaim her identity. She declares, "I may appear to be male, but what is inside me still exists. It is what I have felt the way I have for so long. My body has been screaming to me that I am someone else." Topa chooses to undergo a second procedure performed by Isaac, the ship's Kalon and science officer, to transition back to female. The show proposes there is a very reasonable argument that it would be restoring what was taken from her, inviting viewers to see her choice as a reclaiming of her true self. Her decision causes Clyden to leave, that's her other father, aside from Bordis, harshly telling her, "I wish you were never born." Topa's arc in the Orville was a sci-fi allegory for transgender experiences, mirroring the courage of transgender individuals to live as who they are inside. Her forced reassignment echoes the tragic case of David Dreamer, a Canadian boy born in 1965, who, after a botched circumcision, 8 months old, underwent surgery to construct a rudimentary female genitalia, and was raised as a girl named Brenda under the guidance of psychologist John Money. This was part of an unethical study to prove the theory of gender neutrality. That gender identity develops primarily as a result of social learning from an early age. Despite the claims of success from money, David had informed his father at age 14 that he had always felt that he was a boy, ending the experiment. The experiment seemed to have the opposite result of what was intended. His rejection of an imposed female identity, like Topa, his realization in A Tale of Two Topas, underscores the resilience of an innate sense of self, challenging the idea that gender is primarily a social construct or can be altered by society or peer pressure. Tragically, as a result of depression brought on by dysphoria, David took his own life in May of 2004. Unlike David's story, Topa's arc offers hope. In season 3, his Midnight Hate Blues, Topa is inspired by Havina, another female Maklan and revolutionary who spoke on behalf of Topa at her tribunal. Topa aids a secret network of smuggling female Maklan into a sanctuary planet, challenging Maklan his oppressive laws. Kidnapped and tortured by Maklan authority, she refuses his treatment for her injuries until she can present them to the Planetary Union Council, exposing Maklus's cruelty. Her action has led to Maklus's expulsion from the Union. The sanctuary planet is designated as a Union protectorate. Her father, Clyden, who initially rejected her transition, returns after hearing what happened. He apologizes and embraces her, reuniting their family. And that scene where he apologizes is a heart wrencher for sure. And like I said last week, if you haven't seen the Orville, I'm sorry for the spoilers, but why haven't you? It's a good show. How did you ever get a baby to stay still long enough to apply that head appliance? I have no idea. Maybe they put it on in their sleep. I don't know. The third looks way better. The kid who played her was a great actor. Yes. Just a reminder that the Orville was the best ever Star Trek show. Yes, and like I said last week, the Star Trek Discovery, he is Star Trek in name only. The Orville is Star Trek in all but name. It really does carry the heart and soul of what Trek is. I just realized I didn't do the appropriate song for our Fallen. So if I may, you just cut into that for our meet for a song. Don't worry, I'll bring the mood back up. Then with a slightly different version of here. In fact, I think I might do another one I usually cover. Of all the money that I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm I've ever done, alas, it was to none but me, and all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass. and drink a health whate'er befall, and gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, are sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it fell unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass, and drink a health whate'er befall, and gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. But since it has so ought to be, by a time to rise and a time to fall, come fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. Good night and joy be to you all. And seeing as I forgot how to do the song, I think I'll cover one more memorial song I usually do here. Well, not usually do. I usually do the parking glass. I haven't seen in the Orville because I saw onto the future that you would give these spoilers tonight. And so, what was the point of watching it? Because I don't cover everything in the spoilers. There's a whole lot more you don't get to see without watching it. But I think we'll do a little bit of St. James Infirmary Blues here for this one as well. I went down to St. James Infirmary. I heard my baby groan. I felt so broken hearted. She had been my own. I went up to see the doctor. She's very low, he said. I went back to see my baby. Good God, she's lying there dead. Oh, I tried to keep from crying. My heart felt just like lead, for she was all I had to live for. I wish that it was me instead. I went down to old Joe's barroom on the corner by the square. They were serving drinks as usual, and the usual crowd was there. On my left stood Big Joe McKennedy. He saw my eyes were bloodshot red. I turned to my friends all around me. These are the words I said. I went down to St. James Infirmary, saw my baby there, stretched out along white table, so cold, so sweet, so fair. Let her go, God bless her, wherever she may be. She can look this wide world over. She'll never find a sweet man like me. Oh, when I die, please dress me in straight-laced shoes, box-back coat and Stetson hat. Put a $20 gold piece on my watch chain. so the boys know I died standing pat. Get 6 gamblers as my pallbearers. Let the chorus girls sing me a song. Put a jazz band on my tailgate to raise hell as we go along. Now that's the end of my story. Let's have another round of booze. If anyone asks you, should tell them I've got those St. James Infirmary blues. That one is when my own version of the song. Seeing as that's more of a blues song. Probably worth noting. I wasn't able to learn any of her songs for tonight, unfortunately. But Chili Healer, known as the Mother of Blues. Actually, I think I might have gotten that wrong. Anyway, I think I got that wrong. But anyway, the woman who's known as the Mother of Blues, because I was actually put one of her songs onto my list to learn. No, excuse me, May Rainey. That was the name I was trying to think of. Anyway, turns out there is well, it's not totally confirmed. There's a good chance that she was bi or possibly a lesbian. So you can have you can thank the existence of blues on a gay woman. Now, like I said, it's not entirely confirmed, but it does kind of show up in some of her music, like "Prove It On Me Blues." With one of the lines in reading, "Went out last night with a crowd of my friends. They must have been mumming because I don't like no men." So, and there's other little signs of that as well. Yeah, I actually came up with that one after one of the mods on Dupka show who had passed away. It was one of her favorites. Yes, and I sung that in her honor. Coming up with that version, since I didn't want to just copy what he was doing. And I noticed that these old songs sometimes have multiple versions, so I will sometimes cobble together my own version and from that. But let's get in. Let's do one more song from the wheel here to see if we can get a nice upbeat one to change the mood. That's not an upbeat one. It's an appropriate one. I think we'll have to do one more song after this. That's not gonna bring the mood up. If anyone wants to suggest a song in the chat, go right ahead. Seeing as this one may have reference to the Underground train in helping to free slaves, it seems like it could somewhat connected. It's song to do. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I'm sometimes up, I'm sometimes down. Coming for to carry me home. But still my soul feels heavenly bound. Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot. Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot. Coming for to carry me home. I look over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me. Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot. Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot. Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot. Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot. Coming for to carry me home. Let's see what we have here. There was a song on the Phineas and Ferb episode that was saying, in all modern music, it came in from the blues. They say that you have possibly a lesbian or bi woman in the thing for all modern music. Oh, wait, well, some of the modern music nowadays. Well, we'll ignore some of the modern music from the past decade or so, but we'll give her the good stuff. There. Come on, let's give it an upbeat one. Merry-Go-Round broke down. Actually, that's not a bad one. Yeah. Let me get some water here. Oh, the merry-go-round broke down, and we went round and round. Each time we'd miss, we'd steal a kiss, and the merry-go-round went pa-pa, 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 pa-pa. Oh, the merry-go-round broke down. It made the darndest sound. The lights went low, and we went oh, and the merry-go-round went pa-pa, 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 pa-pa. Oh, what fun! A wonderful time. Finding love for only a dime. Oh, the merry-go-round broke down, but you don't see me frown. Things turned out fine, now she's mine, 'cause the merry-go-round went pa-pa, 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 pa-pa. Oh, the merry-go-round broke down. There we go. That's an upbeat one. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'd consider this to be it. Oh, come on, computer. There we are. Yeah, usually for the movie segments, I would just read off a bunch of trivia. I did include a little bit of trivia in this one, but I wanted to do something a little bit different tonight. So for tonight, we will be covering the movie Pride. It's a historical comedy drama based on a true story set in 1984 during the UK miners' strike under Margaret Thatcher's government. Follows a group of gay activists in London, led by Mark Ashton, who from LGBTSM, lesbian and gay, support the miners, to raise funds for striking Welsh miners. The real LGBTSM raised over 20,000 euros, about 70,000 today, for the miners. It's proving small groups can make a big impact. And we get more proof of that later on. The movie opens following Joe Cooper, a closeted gay man, and who finds himself in the first gay pride march in London. And nervously he says, I just don't want to be too visible. Well, while holding the other end of a banner that reads, Queers, better blatant than latent. That kind of sets the tone of the humor in this movie. Stepping out of the parade, a woman passes by Joe and says to his face, disgusting. And he says, yeah, to try and stay hidden. He joins back in the parade, helping with the spontaneously arranged bucket collection for the miners. As they march, they pass by an old woman holding a sign that reads, Burn in Hell. Mark Ashton, the one who arranged the bucket drive, notices the police have stopped harassing the gay club lately because they're harassing the miners instead. But he doesn't get much support, as miners have mistreated the gay community in the past. The movie never mentions Ashton's political affiliation, but it is hinted at with the red star pin he wears in someone shouting comedy at him when he takes the stage at the gay bar. While Ashton is frustrated with her progress, he stands on the street trying to collect money for his cause, and a random man walks by yelling "pervert" at him. He gets the idea to contact the Welsh village directly instead of going through the Union. Gwen, played by Mana Trussler, answers the phone. Gwen is possibly my favorite character in this movie, with some of the funniest lines. Di Donovan, a spokesperson for the miners, comes to meet them. He didn't realize the L and the G in LGSM stood for lesbian and gay. Later, he stands on the stage of a gay bar and says, What you have given in me is more than money. It's friendship. When you're in a battle against an enemy, he's so much bigger, so much stronger than you. And to find out you had a friend you never knew existed, well, that's the best feeling in the world. So thank you. This raises a lot of money for their cause, and Joe will volunteer to be their photographer. The scene in where Joe is developing photos are actual photos the actor who played Joe, who George McKay took while filming. When the LGSM coalition arrives in Wales, Glenn yells, Die! Your gays have arrived! This is followed with Ashton having to go on stage and win over the miners, just like how Donovan had to at the gay bar. or with As their efforts begin to pick up steam, and they raise a lot of money, Maureen, one of the two heads of the women support group, along with Athena, tries to sabotage them by going to a tabloid and humiliating the National Union of Miners. The tabloid read, Many years now, we've been force-fed an agenda that has represented homosexuals first as victims, now as heroes. It goes on. Homosexuals have been told that it is us, the normal population, and not them that is out of step. Any society that accepts that sick deception and swirling headlong into a cesspool of its own making. The tabloid comes up with the slogan, Perverts support the pits. After having a brick cover and fireworks thrown at them through a glass door. Ashton declares that they will embrace the labels in the tabloid. There is one. There is a long and honorable tradition in the gay community, and it stood us in good stead for a very long time. When somebody calls you a name, you take it and you own it. And you throw those in an enormous concert. You're titled "Perverts Support the Pits." Yeah, that's strange. Let me check something here. Oops. That looks like I messed up on my slides here a little bit. Yeah, well, no big deal. I'll have to just keep going. When Miriam Train has to set up a meeting and changes the time so so a decision can be made unopposed. This is where we discover she's been the one leaking information to the tabloid. And then she tries to justify her actions. The trouble with those people is that if they jump on the bandwagon, it's well known and they pretend and they're backing you, but what they're really doing is pushing their own agenda, gay rights. Oh dear. After you blow up from Havana, Sean and James pulls out the duffel bag full of money and dumps it on the table, saying, "That reminds me, courtesy of those people and their agenda." On the day of the 1985 Gay Pride Parade, the committee tries to force out the LGSM from the parade. With some BS excuse of them being too political. One of the lesbian group member says they're good. There's got to be some kind of compromise, because that's how way you get things done. With quick rejection. No, it isn't. And it responded with, "Why does everything get so aggressive with you lot?" The argument is settled when hundreds of minors arrive in a show of solidarity. And you can see, it might be a little hard to see in the screenshot, but the banner here on the bus says, "Minors support lesbian and gay." Nice little flip of the name there. There is a particularly funny and famous line from Gwen, and just before the minors arrive, where she gets out of a van and saying, "Where are my lesbians? Where are my lesbians?" The closing scene give us information on the real life fates of our groups and characters. On June 29th, 1985, London's Gay Pride March, which was led by a Welsh miner, is in a show of solidarity for LGSM and support during the strike. Sean Shane, I'm not really sure how to pronounce the name. James enrolled at Swansea University. He graduated with a degree from the Welsh Language Department. In 2005, she was elected head member of Parliament and for Swansea East. The first woman ever to serve the constituency. Jonathan Blake was one of the first people to be diagnosed as HIV positive in the UK. He recently celebrated his 65th birthday. Actually, I happened to look this guy up, and he is still alive, and he's at 75 now. Mark Ashton continued to fight for political and civil rights causes. He died on February 11th, 1987, and just days after his diagnosis with HIV/AIDS. He was 26. A year after the strike ended, a motion in this table held at the Labour Party conference to enshrine gay and lesbian rights into the party's manifesto. Although the motion had been raised before, this time it was passed. This was due in part to a block vote of total approval from one key union, the National Union of Mine Workers. The solidarity with miners is a group from a different world. It shows how pride should be about building bridges and fighting for justice for all. Kind of like Superman when you think about it. Because against the injustices of the world, we're all stronger together. And yeah, again, if you haven't seen in the movie Pride, it's 2014. It's the 2014 one. There are others there by that name. Go check it out. Let's see here. Nope, I don't see which slide you're talking about with the. Oh, the brick. That's because the newspaper, that's because the newspaper was wrapped around it, so the lettering was cut off. So that was a newspaper. That was a tabloid newspaper that was wrapped around the brick that was thrown through their window. That had the headline "Improve support the pits." Let's do a couple more songs and we'll get to the reading. How's that sound? Give my regards to Broadway. Okay. Let's see here. Here we are. Did you ever see two Yankees pause upon a foreign shore? When the good ship's just about to start for old New York once more? With tear-dimmed eyes, they say goodbye. They're friends, without a doubt. When the man on the pier shouts, "Let them clear," as the ship strikes out. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old-time throng. Give my regards to Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long. Say hello to dear old Coney Island if there your chance to be. When you're at the Wardrough, have a smile and charge it up to me. mention my name every place you go, as around the town you roam. What you call on my gal? Now remember, old pal, when you get back home, give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old time throng. Give my regards to Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long. Let's see here. Cover something here. Where is it? Maybe. Yeah, okay. Oh. Another lucidity. Hello! Well, you still haven't missed everything yet, so don't worry about that. Usually, let me do one more song. Yeah, that works. Love you truly. Nice short one. I love you truly, truly, dear. Life with its sorrow, life with its tear. Fade into dreams when I feel you near. For I love you truly, truly, dear. Our love 'tis something to feel your kind hand. Ah yes, 'tis something by your side to stand. Gone is the sorrow, gone doubt and fear. For you love me truly, truly, dear. Yeah. Let's see here. There we are. Okay. Now, finishing things off with the reading of the last chapter of The Call of Cthulhu. If heaven ever wishes is to grant me a boon, and it will be a total facing of the results of a mere chance which fixes my eye on a certain stray piece of shelf of paper. It was nothing on which I would naturally have stumbled in the course of my daily round, for it was an old number of an Australian journal. Sydney Bulletin for April 1st, for April 18th in 1925. It had escaped even in the cutting bureau, which had at that time of its ensuing and been avidly collecting material for my uncle's research. I had largely given over my inquiries into my professor Engel, called the Cthulhu cult, and was visiting in the Learned friend of Peterson in New Jersey, the curator of a local museum and mineralogist of note, examining one day the reserve specimen is roughly set on the storage shelf in the rear room of the museum. And my eye was caught by an odd picture in one of the old paper spread beneath the stones. It was the Sydney Bulletin, and I have mentioned and for my friend, and his wide affiliation in all conceivable foreign parts. In the picture, there was a half-tone cut of hideous stone, and image almost identical with which Schiller grass had found in the swamp. Eagerly, he clearing the sheet of its precious its content, and so I scanned and the item in detail, and was disappointed to find and of only moderate at length. What it suggested, however, was of pretentious significance to my a flagging quest, as I carefully tore it out from immediate action, and to read it as follows. Miss is mystery derelict found at sea. Vigilant and arrives with helpless his arms, New Zealand and yacht in tow. One survivor and dead man and found aboard. Tale of desperate battle and deaths at sea. He rescued seamen and refuses his particulars of strange experience. Odd idol found in his possession or inquiry to follow. The Morrison Co. Fighter vigilant. The Morrison Co. Fighter vigilant and bound from Valparaiso, who arrived this morning at its wharf in Darling Harbor, having in tow the battle disabled but heavily armed steam yacht Alert of Dun and Din in NZ, which was sighted April 12th, within S latitude 34 or 21, and with longitude 150 to 17, with one living and one dead at aboard. The Vigilant left so March 25th, and on April 2nd, and was driven considerably south of her course by exceptionally heavy storms and monster waves. On April 12th, the derelict was sighted, though apparently he deserted. Was found upon boarding to contain one survivor in a half delirious condition, and one man who had evidently been dead for more than a week. The living man was clenching a horrible stone idol of unknown origin, and by a foot in height, irregular regarding whose nature authorities is at Sydney University, the Royal Society, and the Museum in College Street. All profess his complete bafflement. And by way he survived versus as he found in the cabin of the yacht in a small carved shrine of common pattern. This man, and after recovering his senses, told an exceedingly strange story of piracy and slaughter. He is Gustav of John Nissen, and was Norwegian and of some intellect, and had been second in mate of the two-masted schooner Emma of Auckland, and which seen sail for Colio February 20th with the complement of 11 men. The Emma, he said, was delayed and thrown wildly south of her course by the great heat storm of March 1st. So on March 22nd, and in St. latitude 49 and 51, in west longitude 128.834, encountered the Alert, manned by a queer and evil-looking crew of Kanaka's and half castes, as being ordered peremptorily to turn back. Captain Collins refused, whereupon the strange crew began to fire savagely and without warning upon the schooner, and with a particularly heavy battery of brass cannon, and forming part of the its equipment. The Emma's men show fight. It says the survivor, though the schooner began to sink from shots beneath the waterline, and they managed to heave alongside their enemy and board her, grappling with the savage crew on the yacht's deck, like being forced to kill them all. Well, the number being slightly superior because of their particularly abhorrent and desperate thought. Rather clumsy mode of fighting. Three of the Emma's men, including Captain Collins and first mate Green, were killed, and the remaining 8 under second mate Jonathan proceeded to navigate the captured yacht, going ahead in their origin direction to see if any reason for their ordering back had existed. The next day, it appeared is that a race is landed on a small island, and although none is known to exist is in that part of the ocean. And 6 of the men somehow died ashore, though Johnson is quite early he reticent about this part heard of his story and speaks only of their falling into a rock chasm. Later, it seems he and one companion boarded the yacht and tried to manage her, but were heated about by the storm of April 2nd. From the time until his rescue on the 12th, the man can remember as little, and he does not even recall when William Bryden and his companion died. Bryden's death revealed there's no apparent cause, and was probably due to excitement or exposure. Cable advices from Dunedin and report that the alert was well known. There is an island trader who bore an evil reputation along the waterfront. It was owned by a curious group of half-casted Stus whose frequent meetings night trips to the woods attached no little curiosity. He had set sail in great haste just after the storm tremor on March 1st. Our Auckland correspondent gives the Emma and her crew an excellent reputation, and Johnson is described as a sober and worthy man. The Admiralty will institute an inquiry on the whole matter beginning tomorrow, at which every effort will be made to induce Johnson to speak more freely than he has done in Heathrow. This is all together with the picture of the hellish image, but with the train of idea as it startled in my mind. Here were new treasures of data on the Cthulhu cult, and evident that it had strange interests at sea as well as on land. What motive prompted the hybrid crew to order back the Emma as they sailed about with their hideous idol? What was the unknown island on which 6 of the Emma's crew had died, and about which the mate Jonathan was so secretive? What had the Vice Admiralty investigation brought out? And what was known of the noxious cult in Dunedin? And most marvelous of all, what even more than the natural linkage of dates was this which gave even milling and now undeniable significance to the various turns of event, and so carefully noted by my uncle. March 1st, son in February, March 1st out, February 28th, according to international dateline, the earthquake storm had come from London, and the alert and her Newsom crew who had darted eagerly from one as if imperviously summoned. And then on the other side of the earth, poet and artists had begun to dream of a strange, dank, cyclopean city, whilst a young sculptor had molded it in his sleep, the form of the dreaded Cthulhu. March 23rd, the crew of the Emma landed on an unknown island and left 6 men dead. And on the date, the dreams of sensitive men assumed the heightened vividness and darkened with dread of a giant monster lying in pursuit, whilst an archaic had gone and mad, and the sculptor had lapsed suddenly into delirium. And what of the storm of April 2nd, the day on which all dreams of the dank city ceased, Wilcox emerged unharmed from the bondage of strange forever. What of all this, and of those hints of old Castro about the sunken and star-born old ones and the coming rain, their faithful cult and their mastery of dreams? Was I tottering in the brink of cosmic horror, or is beyond man's power to bear? If so, they must be horrors of the mind and alone. And for in some way the 2nd of April will have put a stop to whatever monstrous menace had begun in its siege of mankind and soul. That evening, after a day of hurried cabling and arranging, I bade my host adieu and took a train from San Francisco in less than a month, and I was in London. And however, I found that little was known of the strange cult member who had lingered in the old sea taverns. Waterfront and scum was far too common for special mention. And though there was vague talk about one an inland trip that these mongrels had made, during which faint drumming and red flame were noted on the distant hills. In Auckland, and I learned that Jonathan had returned with yellow hair turned white after pure punctuary and inclusive of questioning at Sydney. Ian had thereafter sold his cottage in West Street and sailed with his wife to his old home in Oslo. Of his stirring experience, and he would tell all his friends no more than he had told the Admiralty officials. Was an all he could do was to give me his Oslo address. After that, I went into Sydney and talked profitlessly with seamen and members of the Vice Admiralty Court. I saw all the alert now sold in commercial use. It's circular quay in Sydney. Cover but gained nothing from its non-committal bulk. The crouching image with its cuttlefish head, dragon and body, scaly wings and hieroglyphs, pedestaled was preserved in the museum at Hyde Park, and I studied it long and well, finding it a thing of balefully exquisite workmanship, and with the same utter mystery, a terrible antiquity Unearthly strangeness of material which I had noted in Legras's smaller specimen. Geology is the curator who told me he had found and did a monstrous puzzle. For he vowed that that the world held no rock like it. Then I thought, with a shudder, of what old Castro who had told old Legras about the primal great ones. They had come from the stars and had brought out their images with them. Shaken in with such a mental revolution, and as had never, as I had never before known, now resolved to visit mate Jonathan in Olsom, sailing from London, and I re-embarked at once for the Norwegian capital. On one autumn day, landed at the trim wharves within the shadow of the Egeberg. Jonathan and Zidra, as I discovered, lay in the old town of King Harold old Harada, which kept alive the name of Oslo during all the centuries that the greater city masqueraded it as Christiania. I made the brief trip by taxi cab. I have been knocked with palpitant heart at the door of a neat and ancient building, being well plastered front. A sad face woman in black answered with my summons, and I was stung with disappointment. And when she told me in halting English the gust of Jonathan and was no more. He had not long survived after his return, and she said his wife, for the doing things at sea in 1925 had broken him. He had told her no more than he had told the public, but had left a long manuscript of technical matters, as he said, had written in English, evidently in order to safeguard her from the peril of usual pursuit while during a walk through a narrow lane near the Gothenburg dock. A bundle of paper was fallen from an attic without window who had knocked him down, and two Lascar sailors at one and helped him to his feet. But before the ambulance could reach him, he was dead. Physicians found no adequate cause for the death. And late aided to heart trouble in a weakened constitution. I now felt gnawing at my vitals the dark terror which will never leave me till I too am at rest, accidentally or otherwise. Persuading the window that my connection with her husband's technical matter was sufficient to entitle me to his manuscript. I bore the document away and began to read it on the London boat. It was a simple, little rambling thing, a naive sailor's effort at a post-facto diary. He strove to recall day by day the last awful voyage. I can not attempt him to transcribe verbatim in all its coldness from London's. I will tell it's just enough to show why the sound into the water against the vessel's side and became so unendurable to me that I stopped at my ear with cotton. Jonathan, and thank God, did not know quite it all, even though he saw all the city and the thing. But I shall never sleep calmly again when I think of the horrors that lurk ceaselessly behind and lie if in time I am in space, instead of those unhallowed blasphemies from old stars which dream beneath the sea. Known in worse by a nightmare cult ready and eager to loose them on the world whenever another earthquake shall have their monster stone city again in the sun and air. Jonathan's voyage had begun, and just as he told it to the Vice Admiralty, the Emma and Bala said clear Auckland, and on February 20th, and had felt the full force of the earthquake, bore tempest, which must have heavy. He heaved up from the sea, bottom, from the horrors that filled old men's dreams. Once more under control, the ship it was making good progress. When held up by the alert on March 22nd, I could feel the mate's regret as he wrote of her bombardment and sinking of the swarthy cult fiends on the alert. He speaks with significant horror. There was some in particular abominable quality about them which made their destruction seem almost a duty. Jonathan showed his ingenious wonder at the charge of ruthlessness sparred against his party during the proceedings of the court of inquiry. Then, driven ahead by curiosity, in their captured yacht under Jonathan's command, the men inside a great stone pillar sticking out of the sea, and in south latitude 47 and 9, and west latitude 126 43. He come upon the coastline of mingled old mud, ooze and weedy collapsing in masonry, which can be nothing less than in the entangled substances of Earth's supreme terror, the nightmare corpse city, the Ryla. That was built in measureless eons behind and history by the vast loathsome shapes that see down from the dark stars. There lay a great Cthulhu and his hordes. It's hidden in green slime evolves and sending out at last after a cycle incalculable the thought that spread fear to the dreams of the sensitive and cold and imperciously to the faithful to come on a pilgrimage of liberation and restoration. All this Jonathan did not suspect, but God knows he soon saw enough. I suppose that the only single mountain tip hideous monolith with crowded citadel were on great Cthulhu who was buried. He had actually emerged from the waters. When I think of the extent of all that many be bore brooding down there, I almost wish to kill myself forthwith. Jonathan and his men were awed by the cosmic majesty of this dripping Babylon of elder demons, and must have guessed within guidance and said it was nothing of this for even any sane planet. All at the unbelievable size of the greenish stone and blocks of the dizzying height of the great cavern. Monolith and at the stupefying identity of the colossal statues in bas reliefs with the queer image found in the shrine and on the alert and pungently visible on every line and of the mate's frightened description. Without knowing what futurism is like, Jonathan achieved something very close to it when he spoke of the city. For instead of describing any definite structure or building, he dwells only on the broad impressions, and so vast angles and stone and surfaces is too great to belong to any right or proper for this earth, imbued with horrible images and hieroglyphs. I mentioned in his talk about how angles was because it suggests something in Wilcox had told me of his awful dreams. He had said that the geometry of the dream play he saw was abnormal, non-Euclidean, and loathsomely irregular and of spheres, as in dimensions apart from ours. Now, unlettered seaman and felt the same thing whilst gazing at the terrible reality. Jonathan and his men landed at a sloping mud bank on this monstrous acropolis. This incline emerged slippery up over Titan and oozy blocks, which could have been in no mortal staircase. The very son of heaven seemed distorted when viewed through the polarizing miasma willing out from the sea soaked perversion and twisted menace and suspense lure clearingly in those easily elusive angles of cavern and rock where a second glance and show cavely after the first show convexly. Something very like a fright had come over all the explorers before anything more definite than raw canoes and it was seen. Each would have fled had he not fear the scorn of the others, and it was only half-heartedly that he searched vainly yet as it had proved for some portable souvenir to bear away. It was Rodriguez in Portuguese, the Portuguese who climbed up the front end of the monolith and shouted of what he had found. West followed him and looked curiously at the immense carved door with the now familiar squid dragon in half base relief. It was, as Jonathan said, like a great born door, and they all felt that it was a door because of the ornate intel threshold and jabs around it, though they could not decide whether to lay flat like a trap door or slant endwise. It's like an outside cellar door. As Wilcox would have said, the geometry of the place was all wrong, but could not be sure that the sea and the ground and were horizontal, hence the relative position of everything else seemed infinitesimally variable. Bryden pushed at the stone in several places without result. Donovan fell over in declare and delicately around the edge, and pressing in each point separately as he went. He climbed interminably along the grotesque stone and molding and that is one and with the call it climbing, and if the thing is not after they're all horizontal. And the men in wonder heard how any door in the universe could be so vast. Then, very softly and slowly, the arc, great panel will begin to give inward at the top, and they saw that it was balanced. Donovan and Sid Denvin slid later somehow and propelled himself downward along the jab and been joined into his fellows, and everyone and watched the queer recession of the monstrously cavern and portal in this fantasy of prismatic distortion, and it moved aimlessly in a diagonal way, so that all the rules of matter and perspective seemed upset. The aperture was black with a darkness and slowness material, all that temperously he was indeed a positive quality, for it obscured such parts of the inner walls, all says is ought to have been revealed. And then actually he burst forth like smoke from its young and long imprisonment, visibly darkening the sun, and as it sunk away into the shrunken and gibbous sea, and flapping and member in this wings, the odor rising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and that at length the quick ear heard Hawken and thought he heard a nasty slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into his sight, and gropingly he squeezed its gelatinous green in immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of all the position in city of madness. Poor Jonathan in writing almost gave out when he wrote this. Of the 6 men who never reached the ship, empty things to perish of pure fright in the occurred instant. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysmal of shrieking in immemorial lunacy. Such eldritch, such eldritch contradiction of all matter, for instance, cosmic order, or mountain and walked or stumbled. God, what wonder that caused the earth a great architect when in mad, and poor Wilcox raved with fever in the telepathic instant. The thing of the idols was the ring sticky spawn and of the stars, his head away he can to claim his own. The stars were right again, and with what an age old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailor had done by accident. After vegetations of years great Cthulhu, who was now loose again and ravening for delight, until he got before the force field. 3 men and were swept up by the flabby claws before anybody turned. God rest them, and if there be any rest in the universe, they were Donovan, Gore, Jura, and Engstrom. Parker, Sip, as the other three were plunging frenziedly over endless spaces of green frosted rock, and to the boat. And Johnson swears he was swallowed up by an angel of masonry, which shouldn't have been there. An angel which was cute, but behaved as if it were obtuse. So only Britain and Johnson reached the boat. The bull desperately for the alert as he mounted in this monstrosity. He flopped down on the slimy stones, and he stood floundering at the edge of the water. Steam he had not been in suffer to go down entirely, despite the departure of all hands for the shore, and it was the work of only a few moments of feverish rushing up and down between wheels and engines to get the alert under way. Slowly, he admit it's the distorted horrors of that indescribable scene, and she began to churn in the lethal waters as well from in the missionary of that charm shore that was not of earth, the Titan, the thing from the stars, enslaved, Evered, and get gibber like a polyphlegm, cursing in the fleeing group of Odysseus. Then in bolder than in the story in Cyclops, great Cthulhu, who said he had greatly greasily into the water and began to pursue with a vast sway of raising strokes of cosmic potency. Biden looked back and went mad, laughing surely. Laughing surely, as he kept laughing, at interval till death found him in one night in the cabin with Johnson and was wandering deliriously. But Johnson had not given out yet, knowing that the thing could surely overtake the Albert Hurtington steam was fully up. He resolved on a desperate chance, and setting the engine for full speed. He ran lightning like on the deck that can reverse the wheel. There was a mighty ebbing and foaming in the some brine, and as the steam he mounted it higher and higher, the brave Norwegian and drove his vessel head on and again instead of pursuing jelly, which rose above the unclean froth like the stir of a demon galleon. The awful squid head, with writhing feelers came near up to the bowsprit of sturdy yacht, but Johnson drove on relentlessly. There was a bursting of an exploding bladder, slushy nastiness of cloven and sunfish, as of a thousand open graves, and a sound that the chronicler would not put on paper. For instance, the ship befouled by a arcrid in blinding green and cloud. Then and there was only a venomous seething in astern, and where God in heaven scatter placidity of the nameless sky spawn, and was nebulously recombining in its hateful original form, whilst its distance is widened, and every second as the alert gain in impetus is from its mounting steam. That was all. After that, Johnson and only brooding over the idol in the cabin, intended to a few who matter as a food for himself, and the laughing maniac by his side. He did not try to navigate after the first this bold flight for the reaction, and he had taken in something out of his soul. Then came in the storm of April 2nd, into the gathering of the clouds about his consciousness. There is a sense of spectral whirling, though through liquid gulfs, also of infinity. The dizzy ray rides through reeling universes is on the cosmic tail of a hysterical plunge from the pit to the moon, and from the moon back again to the pit. All livened by an cashinating in chorus of the distorted hilarious elder gods and the green and bat-winged and mocking imps of Tartarus. Out of the dream came rescue, the vigilant and the vice admiralty, the chorus history have done it in the long voyage back home to the old house by the Eggenberg. He could not tell. They would think him mad. He would write of what he knew before death came, but his wife must not guess. Death would be a boon, and if only it could blot out the memories. That was the document I read, and now I have placed it in the tin box beside the base relief in the papers. I've pressed Sir Angle, which it shall go. This is record of mine. This test of my own insanity. You were in this piece together, that which I hope of many never be pieced together again. I have looked upon all the universe says to hold of horror, and even the sky is aspiring in the flowers of summer. Must ever afterward be poison to me. But I do not think my life will be long. As my uncle went, as poor Johnson went, so I shall go. I know too much, and the cult still lives. Cthulhu still lives too. I suppose, again, in that chasm of stone which has shielded him since the sun was young. His occurrence, his cursed city, he is sunken in once more, and for the vigilant and sailed over the spot after the April storm. But his minister is on earth still belong. Oh, the prince and slay around and idle and kept mindless. In the lonely places he must have been entrapped by the sinking most within his black abyss, or else the world would be now by be screaming with fright and frenzy. Who knows the end? What has risen and may sink, and what has sunk may risen. Loathsomeness waits in dreams in the deep in decay he spreads over the tottering cities of man. A time will come, but I must not and cannot think. let me pray that if I do not survive this manuscript, if my executor may put caution before audacity and see that it meets no other eye. And that is the end. Well, I hope you like that reading. I want to give you advice, but I'm having a hard time pinning down on what's wrong. Just relax if necessary. Oh, yeah, that's a part of the stuttering and dyslexia I have. The issue is actually while I'm reading it, looking at the words, I'm mentally reading it faster than I'm actually reading it verbally. So I sometimes unconsciously or I'm trying to read, trying to catch up to what I'm actually reading. And that causes a stutter too. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that my reading wasn't very well tonight. I have considered pre-recording these readings so I can fix all those errors in a post and then just play the video. But well, thank you. Very relaxed and slow down a bit. I'll try to remember that. Any rate, we're at the end of our show. So I figured I'll leave you a little bit of words from Herman Munster. Well, my my paraphrase version at least. You can be tall or short, fat or thin, ugly or handsome, trans or cis, straight or gay, or any shade of skin. It doesn't matter. What matters is the size of your heart and the strength of your character. And let me see here, who's streaming right now. Well, looks like Maya Atkinson is streaming right now. But I do also wanted to put one other link in the chat here. Again, the special thanks to Lesbiandrea for having allowed me to use her screenshots from her show. And seeing as we have a show, get blasted by their live stream. You can go check out Maya Atkinson's show right there. I probably won't be over there since I'm going to be resting from this. So I'll see you all later.